let's start. The first thing that comes to mind when you see this topic is what is meteorology and who are meteorologists? Of course, this is uh, something that you must have heard somewhere, particularly in places like United States, Canada, and the Western and European countries altogether. But then you need to be clear on um, who these people really are. Of course, I'm a student of meteorology and climate science here in Nigeria, Federal University of Technology, Akure, Ondo State. And for the past 4 years, close to that, I've been studying the science of meteorology. And that is what I'm going to share some of my learning experiences with you, and at the same time, the importance of meteorology, meteorological data to climate action. And the first thing now to ask is, who are meteorologists and what is meteorology? Yeah, meteorology is simply the science of the atmosphere. It's actually a Latin word for atmospheric science. And so if you see meteorology, you can simply replace it with atmospheric science. But then basically, because we have meteorologists and climatologists, there is always a need for us to give a distinction between who meteorologists are and who climatologists are. Yeah, meteorologists are people with specialized education in meteorology first and foremost, but then they specialize with how the atmosphere change within a short frame of time, 1 hour, 2 hours, up to 10 days, because the length, the accuracy of our forecasts can only span 10 days. That's for meteorological forecast, because of course we also have climatological prediction when it comes to the climatologists. And then the climatologists are also people who study the atmosphere, but the difference is that these ones, they studied over a longer period of time. As defined by the World Meteorological Organization, these guys, this set of people study the atmosphere for an average of 30 years, but it can extend more than that. It can go for as long as 100 years, because these are the set of people that want to see how our impact climate system when they will return, and that's what we call return period. When cases like floods, extreme weather, which are mostly associated with the climate of a place, will reoccur. So that's what climatologists, that's what they deal with. So yeah, you see that guy there is a broadcast meteorologist, trying to give a news of what the weather will look like for the day. Um, yeah, we see a lot of them, but most times it is very easy to confuse people, the weathermen we see on TV, for the actual meteorologists. These weathermen that we see on TV, most of them have degrees in journalism or broadcasting, etc. But the true and real work are done by meteorologists who are behind the scene. They are the guys that deal with the data sets, that do the analysis, that do the modeling and interpretation of the data for the society to know what the weather is going to be like for the day. Okay, so let's. Oh, then you might want to have. Oh, why do we need meteorologists? Yeah, weather. Weather affects everybody. Weather is a universal business. It is not limited to any boundary. It is cross. It is not restricted to a particular location. where you are currently, you feel either hot or cold. That's because weather affects what you do. The clothes you are putting on currently is because of the weather of where you are currently. So weather is not limited to any place. It is not limited to um, any country or any state. It is a universal business. It's something that affects what we do. It is something that affects our daily activities, the course of our businesses. As funny as it may sound, it's something that also affects our investments. An instance is when high impact disasters happen and they destroy your assets like your buildings, things you spent probably the whole of your life investing in, and because of this weather occurrences, they affect your business. They destroy them, particularly when we have the cases of Hurricane Irma, Hurricane Sandy, and all of those hurricanes that have hit at the United States of America in recent times, and cases of earthquake in Japan, in China, and other parts of the world that we've had this serious weather and natural disasters. We can see that these things affect us. It is not something that is limited to Nigeria or Africa or United States of America or the European countries. No, it is not limited to any continent. Neither is it limited to any country or any region. It is universal. It affects you, and it also affects me, but it might be differently. But then it affects everybody. Oh, the next thing is to know that the atmosphere is dynamic. The atmosphere is not static. The atmosphere uh, moves. Is always in motion. A typical example is the movement of the African Easterly jets, where this is a high-speed wind that moves over West Africa, and then this jet stream, yeah, moves from over West Africa, and then it moves over the Atlantic Ocean. Then when it keeps moving, and it gathers moisture over this ocean, and through to the this is what gets eventually gets to the United States and causes hurricanes. And so it shows that we need to understand these processes because the atmosphere is dynamic, and it is it can only be understood by those who have taken their time to study it. It can only be understood by people like us. I'm still a meteorologist in training, but then by the meteorologists, the guys who have spent their time understanding the mathematics, the physics, and the science of the weather, of the atmosphere. Yeah, so um, that's basically what it means for the atmosphere to be dynamic. So that's also one of the reasons why we need meteorologists. There are people that understand these processes. There are people that can explain it. There are people that can, let us know what these things mean. And yeah, the next is weather affects all we do, everything. I've talked about this earlier on, that it's a universal business. Weather affects the kind of clothes we put on. There is a popular quote in the meteorologist community that it is weather, climate affects decides your wardrobe for you, but then um, weather decides the clothes you put on in a particular day. So weather affects what we do. It affects our business. It determines if we will go out or if we will go to work or not. For instance, if very serious natural disaster like flooding, yeah, happens in your community, and it blocks all the roads, and your car you can't move from one point to another. It means that on that day, that particular day, you have to stay at home or find a place to rescue, to stay safe rather, if the flood directly affects your house. So that would have disrupted work, it would have disrupted business, the flow of business for that day. So yeah, it affects what we do, and this is the more reason why we need meteorologists. It is the more reason why we need people who understand these things. Yeah. Another thing that is important to note is that weather affects. Yeah, this might maybe it's obvious because there are so many weather-related diseases and illnesses that we have that people don't pay attention to because they do not know that these things are related to the weather. So it is crucial that we have people who have an understanding of all of these to explain them to us so that we can know how to safeguard ourselves against their negative effect. And see why you need meteorologists, see why you need climate scientists and climatologists. So yeah, um, the next big data. the To properly understand atmospheric processes, we need to deal and interact with a lot of data, temperature, pressure, precipitation, humidity, wind speed and direction, all of this, and how the activities of humans affect this data, how the presence of mountains, the presence of buildings, yes, urbanization and all of this, how they directly or indirectly influence all of this and the long-term and short-term impact that they have on the environment and on uh, yeah, the environment and on us as humans because yeah, yeah, weather have severe impact on humans and on properties and all that. So these are things we need to factor in when we want to understand and explain the processes that goes on in the atmosphere. So we need people that can actually deal with this big data. Yes, fine. You might want to say that climate computer scientists can deal with this, but I'll tell you no, because computer scientists can only filter this data, they can only arrange and clean them per se, but then they do not have the substantive knowledge of meteorological processes for them to be able to explain and interpret what those data means. So this is why we need meteorologists. Yeah, understanding the atmosphere, which is dynamic, which is always changing, requires us to deal with large data. It requires us to deal with a large set of data, and we need meteorologists to do this. We need people who have this knowledge for them to say, oh, this from this data, this is the insight that we can get. This is our predictive analysis. This is what can happen from what has occurred in time past. This is what we should expect within so time frame. This is what we should expect within so region, and on and on and on. But this cannot be done by someone from any other field because there is always the requirement of the substantive knowledge of meteorology, understanding how these atmospheric processes work, how they interact with the water or with the ocean, how they interact with the land, how they interact with human activities, and how all of these interrelationships affect each other, which is why you need meteorologists. Yeah, but then the subject of today is not just why you need meteorologists, but how what we do as meteorologists can affect climate action, can affect the advocacy for climate change action so that we can have a world that is habitable for every human, and which is, yeah, before I move on to that, I'll quickly like to share with us the IBM Deep Thunder project. So for the past few years, IBM has been working on big data. Of course, the IBM deals with a lot of data and all of that, but they are so keen on understanding the data atmospheric data. So they decided to create a software, yeah, like they do, that can study the atmospheric processes of a place. It takes all of those data and is able to give a predictive analysis and prediction of um oh, okay, maybe I should move on side. Give me a minute, please. Yes, sir. Yeah, has the sound gone down? Okay, yeah, so yeah, IBM has been working on the Deep Thunder initiative for the project rather for the past few years. And what this software does is that rather than give a prediction of a large region because of the amount of data that is available, it can give specific prediction for a particular location. Let's say an airport, yes, it can tell what the visibility will look like, the possibility of cancellations of flight plans, and all other information that might be needed by the airliners there. So it makes it more specific. It makes the use of data more specific in that region. So this is one of the tools that people and climate scientists and climate advocates can also employ to be able to show to people around them that weather changes and the effect of climate change also is visible, particularly when you are able to look at the changes that have occurred in a particular region over a period of time and say that, oh, could it be there has been a tremendous increase, yeah, maybe the dry places becoming drier, which we expect, or the cold, the wet regions are becoming wetter. So this initiative also helps us to do that. So this year, okay, yeah. Okay, great. Okay, so this year, and that was yesterday rather, yesterday being 23rd of March 2018 was the World Meteorological Day, and the theme for this year was or is weather ready, climate smart, and ocean wise. Yes, a very interesting topic, the team, because at this time we need to be weather ready. Why? Because weather changes from time to time. So we need to build resilience, we need to build adaptive capacity for us to be able to mitigate the effect of climate change. Yes, the weather is changing. Yeah, I added a video here. I don't know if you can play. Oh, it's not. It's not. Yeah, that's a message from the Secretary General of World Meteorological Organization, and part of the statement he gave during his speech was that our goal, the goal of not exceeding 2.2 degrees Celsius in the rate of global warming, has been exceeded. And currently, we are on the path of moving towards 3 degrees Celsius to 5 degrees Celsius. That means that we've not been able to achieve our goal as climate advocate to reduce the effect and negative impact of climate change. So you see why this is the more reasons why we need to be weather ready and climate smart. Our building resilience, building adaptive capacity through enlightenment is not enough. We need to go on to formulate policy. We need to go on to ensure that there is a strong interaction between science and policy, so that when people and government are making policies for development, it becomes an evidence-based policy. And this is where we as meteorologists come in, because we can tell which regions are more prone to weather disasters like flooding, which regions are more prone to weather disasters like hurricane, so that they can build structures that can adapt to this, or rather they can implement projects that can effectively manage and adapt to all of these climate weather changes that may occur. Okay, so yeah, we also need to be climate smart, because knowing the trends, following the trend, we can always predict that, okay, this is what we have to expect. This is the return period of this. This is the time this is supposed to occur. This is the time we are not supposed to expect this. So period. Of course, we know this. Every of these is based on probability. Yeah, we do a probabilistic analysis of how soon all of these events are to occur. But it's more important that when formulating policies, we pay attention to meteorologists who do all of these things, because it is crucial that we do more of evidence-based policies, we formulate evidence-based policies than any other thing. So where do the World Meteorological Organization comes in? Of course, we know the World Meteorological Organization is the United Nations body that is in charge of all weather information and hydrological services all over the world, and they have subsidiaries in each country. For instance, in Nigeria, we call it the Nigerian Meteorological Organization, and I think for the United States, that is the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric. I can't remember the other major part of it. But then we need these people because, first, for instance, the World Meteorological Organization, through its subsidiary agencies in each country, help to monitor the global climate. They help to see, okay, this is the changes that is happening. These are the things that we need to pay attention to. Oh, okay, this is what has happened. I told you, I shared with you the other time that the Secretary General, in person of Peter Ritales, said that we've gone past our 2 degrees Celsius targets. That is very huge. That at this point in the history of the earth, we are moving from 3 degrees to 5 degrees Celsius. And our fear is that we do not get to that tipping point where the temperature keeps on increasing and cannot come down any longer. And which is why we need someone, a body rather, to monitor this. This is where meteorologists come in to show that these things are real. For those who are saying that climate change is an hoax, then we can effectively tell them that with evidences that this is real, this is scientific, and they can see for themselves that actions need to be taken as quickly as possible. And also, the World Meteorological Organization also helps in giving quality climate information. Yes, any organization can come up and measure temperature and measure humidity, precipitation, and all of these weather variables, but there's no way they can assure of that quality, which is where World Meteorological Organization with a team of quality meteorologists who have been trained in series of who have been engaged in series of professional trainings, are able to give us quality weather information, quality climate information that we can trust. The information that we can say, yes, this is from a vetted United Nations organization, and we can say, oh, good, we can depend on this and trust in it. And then the thing, I mentioned is evidence-based decision making, and then the promotion of effort to support energy efficiency and carbon neutral economy. Yeah, that's part of what the World Meteorological Organization does. They try to promote efforts to support energy efficiency. How do we use energy efficiently? Because we know that part of the country, part of what contributes to the global climate change is our use of energy, our ever increasing demand for energy. As humans, we want to consume, we want to urbanize, we want to industrialize, and all of these processes have caused more harm than good to our planet. But at this point, we need to protect it by ensuring that all of our energy processes eliminates the use of fossil fuel and carbon. So we move, the World Meteorological Organization tries to ensure that countries and agencies, government parastatals, rather, oh, sorry for that, use carbon neutral processes in developing their economies. And this is, we are able to, through the use of data, to show to the world that this is essential. When we continue with business as usual, this is what is going to happen. But when we show this, we are able to model to people that with the use of this, this is what could happen. With the use of this other way, this is what will happen. So that countries can make their choices on which method to go for. Then, yeah. Now, why? How then do we contribute more to climate action? Research. We do research. When a climate advocate makes a claim and says, "Oh, so and so is occurring somewhere, and people need to take so and so action," how can we trust that process? How can we trust that process that is going to yield the promised results that such climate advocates as giving, as stated earlier on? We research all of this. We also give quality assurance of the climatic processes, of the use of equipment in industries, fossil fuel, how pollution affect our weather, quality, environmental impact assessment, in formulating policies. We also talk about strategic, call it strategic impact assessment, how your project, projects, particularly building dams, river basins, bridges, airports, what are the effects that they have on the immediate and weather of that environment. So this is what in the ways in which meteorologists can come in to show that, oh yeah, and also risk assessment and control. We are able to tell how much the areas that are more prone to risks, the regions that are prone to risks, and those that are less prone to risks, and how government should government, society, institutions, not just government now, and even non-governmental organizations, how they can help these at-risk communities, how they can help them to control their weather risks. How can we? So we do all of this through our study of the continuous, the ever-changing weather variables, and also validation of climate change occurrences. Through research, we are able to show that the atmosphere, the Earth generally, has gone through global cooling and global warming. So we still stand on the ground that yes, global warming is real, because it is something that has happened. In our study of paleoclimatology, that is the climate of past climate of the Earth. That's paleo now, past, and climatology is the study of climate. So that in a study of past climate of the Earth, we have been able to see that the Earth has actually went through global cooling, and it has also gone through global warming. So the current situation we have at that is not new, but then the only fear we have, which is why we have all of this agitation and this call for climate action, is that we might get to a tipping point, which it looks to me as if it's more closer than before. If we fail to act, we might get to that tipping point where the temperature just keeps increasing and increasing and increasing. And the Secretary General of the World Meteorological Organization has been able to tell us that last year was the warmest, even without that El Nino event. It was the warmest. And this year, we've even broken more weather and climate records by going more than our 2 degrees Celsius limit in global warming. So there is a call for more climate action. There is a call for people to take climate action, for people to live more sustainably, for people to use water more sustainably, for people to ensure that their production processes are more sustainable. Yeah, and also the World Meteorological Organization also come into play in the politics of climate change, because we believe that all of our data, all of our science will not be transformed into real results in society without the use of policy. So what the World Meteorological Organization also tries as much as possible to engage in politics, and obviously we see this in the last COP meeting, where the Secretary General came up to tell us about the series of events that has occurred due to weather changes and climatic changes, and how policies can be formulated to ensure that countries all over the world engage, take collective effort, to ensure that greenhouse gas emissions are brought down, and all of the contributing factors to these changes in our climate can be reduced. And at this point, it is very crucial to note that even as advocates as advocates, as people who speak up against unsustainable living, we must ensure that all our actions are driven towards policies, towards how people live, towards policies and lifestyle and community actions, because without all of that, all of our talk, all of our shout and chanting will have no effect. It will make no sense to know that despite the noise about climate change and its negative impact, the process still continues. People still pollute, people still continue with business as usual, and all of the noise makes no effect in the long run. That would be bad, and it won't make any sense at all. So it is very important that we come in, even into politics, and also it is essential for me to note that the World Meteorological Organization is not left out of this. It's not left out of it at all, at all, at all. Here to close. Sorry? Oh, okay. Yeah. To close, I would like to share a quote from Robert Glacier, which is a United Nations disaster risk official. He said, "If we do not succeed in understanding what it takes to make our societies more resilient to disasters, then we will pay an increasingly high price in terms of loss of lives and livelihoods." So if you see that we do not have all the time to study atmospheric processes, but we have meteorologists there who can stand in gap for us to study these processes, who can stand in gap to explain this in terms that we can understand, because these are scientific jargons that we need people who understand them to be able to interpret them to the layman in different parts of the world. So we need guys, we need people, we need agencies who are working on ground, on data, telling us what changes are occurring, telling us situations that are specific to a particular location and how they contribute to the global change in climate. And it is very crucial that we do that at this time. So if we do not succeed in understanding what it takes to make our societies more resilient, which gate or leave out the place of meteorologists to disasters, then we'll pay an increasingly high price in terms of lost lives and livelihoods. And that is not what we want. We want a society that is
Thanks so much, Rufai, for your presentation. It was really informative. I never knew there was so much to meteorology. I mean,
Hello?
I watch them on the news every day, but I didn't realize all of that went into it. So thanks for sharing a little bit about your profession and how it relates with all that's going on in the world with climate change, the with the UNFCCC and different UN bodies that govern around meteorology. I think trying to think. There was a report I saw by the WMO a couple weeks ago that was really interesting about the prospects of extreme weather events with climate change. And so they put out a lot of really good publications. So thanks for
Sorry,
pointing us towards there.
I didn't hear you. Can you
Can you
go over
hear
your
me?
question again?
Um,
I didn't hear
yeah.
you. Can you go over that again, please?
Do you not hear any of it?
You said what?
Oh, I just said thank you for your presentation. It was really informative.
Oh,
I never knew so much about meteorology. So thank you for sharing that about your profession and about how it intersects with different aspects of climate change and global affairs and really just with our daily lives.
no, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. Is
Sure.
there, I don't know if
No,
there
I
is any
want,
question for me that I can quickly attend to. Or maybe. Did you hear me?
yep. Yeah, Jasmeetha Prayesh, do you have any questions for Rufai?
Yeah, I think I've
Oh,
seen one. He said there are lots of climate models with different views
yeah.
regarding the future climate prediction. So how reliable are these models? Oh, okay, yes. The fruit model incorporate, try to show us what reality will be like, or try to depict reality in terms of mathematical um, expression or some kind of visualizations that we see. But then, if I'm going to talk about the reliability, we have to question first who are those giving out these models, what data are they using, what's their source, because it's very important that someone does not just take some random data and make some analysis and give out a model which we cannot rely on. Yeah, but then some of the models I've seen are true because these models are very careful on the data. They try to incorporate all of the things that might change, even how human interaction, how human interact with all of these processes can also affect uh, uh, um, the change in climate in the future. So yeah, they are will I say on a scale of 100, this is 75% reliable, but you have to first question the source of such model. Yeah, you have to say, and where do they get their data from? So it's not just someone giving some random data to show that, oh, yeah, there's a model currently on ground. Because there are a lot of research work, there are a lot of people putting out work there just to get some things, but then you have to question the quality of their work first. But models from organizations like IPCC, WMONOAA, ACMAD in Africa, Agreement, these are models that you can trust because these people they have a quality assurance process to be sure that what they are putting out is not just going out without any form of vetting, or they have to be sure that what they are giving out is true because this affects numerous lives. So we can trust this. But I tell you that is 75 on a scale of 75% because what we deal with here is probability. So we're talking about the probability of of this occurring in so period. So I hope I've been able to answer your question, Jasmita. Did I answer your question? Oh, great, great. I don't know if there's any more question for me to attend to. If there's any other question for me to quickly attend to. Um, is that all? Did you get something new today?
I feel like you answered every question I had about meteorology in your presentation. It really covered a lot.
Okay. Hold on.
Oh, Prayesh has a question.
Oh, okay, you asked the question. Okay. I'm coming. Wow. I'm coming. Hold on. Oh my. What's going on here? Okay, great. Okay. Yeah, meteorology directly relates to climate change issue, as we all know. Oh, wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, recently, my Jasmine, are you with me? Okay. Recently, my course lecturer that is teaching us hydrometeorology gave us an assignment to work on hydrometeorological disasters. And yeah, we were through that study, we were able to see the importance of managing hydrometeorological disasters, because we see that even disasters must happen, yes, because these are natural processes. There are times the earth just wants to give out volcanoes. These processes, they are continuous, right? But where we come in as meteorologists is that we are able to give early warnings to people that, oh, because of our study of the climate of this place, because of our study of the weather of this place, there is a high possibility that this is going to happen in so and so time. So we give what we call early warning to people so that they can better adapt to the climate and the disaster that is going to happen, or for those that need to move so that they don't have to cause death and mortality there, they can easily quickly move. So where we come in is we give out the information so that people can better prepare themselves for the changes in climate and weather that might occur there. Yeah, so that's where we come in as meteorologists, yeah, in disaster risk reduction. Oh, yeah. Okay, yes. In the first thing is that the 30 years data used to analyze climate change is just the standard set by the World Meteorological data. Okay, wow, brilliant, Parash. Okay, great. Yes, it's a standard set by the World Meteorological Organization to be used in the study of climate. But then, the first question is why 30 years? Simple answer is that when we look at climate, we want to look at the average of the weather of a place. So the truth is, we might not necessarily use 30 years. I mentioned earlier that it can be 10 years, but the minimum actually should be a decade. Yeah, but then the standard by World Meteorological Organization is 30 years. Yes, and for some people who want to deal with large data, who want to study maybe the climate rather over a century, what we've seen in the study of climate change, the amount of carbon in parts per million that was in the atmosphere before the industrial age, and now currently in this century, we see that people have tried to study climate over hundreds of years to see what has happened to the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, amount of methane, and all of these greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, because it is a study of the average. The average. So this is statistical. Yeah, it is statistical, and a way. Well, I don't know what's that's the time factor that comes into it. But then you can still use 10 years. You can still use 20. It's just that 30 is the standard set by the World Meteorological organizations. And since you asked this, I'm going to take it on upon myself to find out why exactly 30 was placed, because I do not have a direct answer to that as of now. So I'm going to do just that. Thank you very much for asking this question. It has not even occurred to me to even check why. I've just accepted it as a standard, but I think I need to make more inquiry. Thank you very much. I don't know. Do we still have any other question? Okay, great. It was lovely. Great to share some of the things I've learned, over the past 4 years in the Department of Meteorology and Climate Science here with you, and I contribute to climate action. Yeah, today we have a series of other events. Earth Hour is coming up, and today is World International Forest Day. So there are ways we can still engage online or on any other platform to share our understanding of all these processes. Thank you so much for coming online to hear what I have to share.
Thank you so much, Rufai, and thanks to Jasmita and Prayesh for joining the call and for your great questions. We have one more call this month. It'll be on the 30th at, let's see.
Okay.
At 2 p.m. GMT, an hour after this one was. All right.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you said we're going to end the call now, or what?
Yeah, we'll probably get off because I think we've answered a lot of the questions, and it's been about an hour, so just be respectful of time. Did you have anything else? Any final comments you wanted to add?
Let me share what we did at the World Meteorological Day celebration yesterday that we had here at Futa. It was a 4 hour, was it 4 or 5 hours long event. We had students from the department come here, professors and people from the industry, Ministry of Environment, and Adenike Akinshimolu from an NGO that has to do with climate change advocacy and environmental sustainability, share with us how we can be more weather ready and climate smart. But then what the central talk of yesterday's event was that there are hazards that are happening all around us, and we need to be more focused on these hazards, particularly in a country like Nigeria, where I live, where we are more prone to flooding and drought. We need, which are more of water crisis, even as we've seen such situation in places like South Africa. And we need to pay more attention to South Africa and Somalia. We need to pay more attention to all of these things that are peculiar to our regions. So for places like United States of America, what is peculiar to them is heat waves and hurricanes, tornadoes, right? For some parts, it's earthquakes. So we need to pay more attention to the peculiarities of our weather and ensure that we develop adaptive capacity for them. So that was the central theme of what we shared yesterday, and we also shared some of the opportunities that are available for meteorologists and how our significance, our relevance has been improved with the advent of the science of climate change and environmental sustainability. So I don't know if you are interested in meteorology, you can probably get a degree in it, but you don't really need that anyways. It's just to have an understanding for you to engage people in climate action. I think that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please send us some pictures in the WhatsApp group so we can share them. I'd love to see the pictures from yesterday.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Are we good on that, guys?
I'd love to see the pictures from yesterday. Could you share them in the WhatsApp group?
Okay. Yes, I'm going to do that. Let's do it.
Awesome, thanks. That sounded like such a fun project and activity that you ran yesterday. So,
okay, thank you very much. I'm going to do that as soon as I close this call.
sure.
All right.
Any final comments from Jasmita? Are we good? All right. Oh, there. Thanks, Jasmita. All right, why don't we end the call now? Thank you all for your time today. Thanks so much, Rufai, for presenting. And hopefully I can see you both on our next call on the 30th.
Yeah.
All right. Bye. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, me too. Take care.
Bye. Good night, Jasmita.
Sure.